Hey guys, what's up? Kurt Berg here, teaching you that cover of Dynamite by BTS. This is a great catchy tune on its own, and we're going to make it sound even better by playing it on the acoustic guitar. Like always, you can get tabs for the song by becoming a patron, link in the description below. Thank you to our patrons, you are what lets us keep making these videos, and once we reach 100 patrons, I'll be giving away a guitar to one of you. Before getting into it, I just want to let you guys know about the sweet limited time offer I've got for you on today's sponsor, which once again is Skillshare. Skillshare is an awesome website for anyone who loves learning new things online. It's full of all kinds of inspiring classes for a variety of different creative topics, from illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, music production, and many more. It's also full of tons of awesome guitar classes for you guys to speed up the process of improving on guitar. Millions of people are already using Skillshare and seeing success with their new skills, and you could join that community of millions for less than $10 a month for the annual subscription. It's a really great way to further your progress on guitar because, like YouTube, there's lots of skilled, experienced guitar teachers on there, except they filter out all the bad lessons. And each of the teachers have made designated courses for you in order, so you're not scrolling all over and searching all over the place for quality content. I've actually got a few courses on there myself as well. It's also cool because you might find yourself joining to learn guitar, but once you subscribe, you've got access to everything. So you might find yourself in no time learning completely different, unique skills to show off to people. I'm really excited Skillshare reached out to me because that means I get to promote them with an offer that benefits you guys. So for the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description, they'll get a free trial of the Skillshare Premium membership, so take advantage of that before it runs out. With that being said, let's get into the song. All right, so starting off with the intro, here's it played slowly. So just the same line repeated twice. We're going to start off with a bar of the 7th fret, and I'm saying all the frets relative to the capo, so this is fret 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So start with a bar of that, then I'm going to play the 3rd string, and then 6, 3, 2, 1. And then keeping that on so it rings out, put that pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. Then you're going to slide down and put your keep this bar on the 3rd fret, and then put your 2nd finger on G2 or G4, pinky on B7, then down to almost a D chord just without this 2nd finger on the 1st string. So these 4 strings together. And then bring this down to the 1st and 2nd fret. And then a nice slap there. You want to be nice and gentle with the slaps. You kind of want to slap it just hard enough that it actually makes your nice click, but not too hard that it sounds really aggressive and way louder than the rest of the song. It's really easy to make these slaps way too loud, so you want to make them sound as close to the volume of everything else you're playing as possible, so that it's not too loud and overpowering. So there's that line of the intro. And there we go, there's the full intro. Alright, now moving into the second part, which is the verse. Here's the entire thing played for you slowly. Alright, let's take a look at the first line, which sounds like this. Alright, so starting off, we've got a B minor chord. We're just going to play it a little differently to make it easier for ourselves. And we're going to alternate between the A string and then the G and B string. So you're going to do this rhythm. And then you're going to pull off from the 3rd fret of the B string to the 0. So then you're going to switch to this chord here, which is going to be 3rd fret of the B and low E string. And then you're going to play E, D, G, B together 3 times. And then open B string, hammer onto 3rd fret. So that line together is. And then we're going to do the same rhythm, just switch up our chords for the 2nd line. Now we're going to start on this D chord without that top string. So just these 2 fingers, G2, B3. And then you're going to do that same rhythm, alternating between the A and then the G and B string. And then put that first finger on D2, play that 3 times, and then do your 0 to 3 hammer on. So that line is. And then you end with just a slap on that 6th string. So altogether, these first 2 lines, what we've got so far. Now you're going to move into the 3rd line of the verse, and this one's going to be almost the same as the first line with just a slightly different ending riff. So we're going to throw in that little riff there at the end. So the first part is the same as the first line of the verse. Then you take this 3rd finger on B3 and slide it up to the 5th fret. Then B0, then G4 to 2, with a nice little pull-off there. And when you're doing your pull-offs, to make that 2nd note ring out nicely, it usually helps if you just give a little downward flick on this finger. So instead of just lifting it up, where it's kind of quiet, if you actually flick it down slightly, it'll make a better sound. So you can get kind of that same volume from the 1st to the 2nd note. Just a little tip to improve your pull-offs. So you add that to our line, and here's that 3rd line of the verse. And then moving into the 4th and final line of this verse, we're going to do similar to the 2nd line, just again with a slightly different ending. So this first part's the same. And you put on that same chord that we used in the 2nd line, except this time we're going to play it twice, and then pull off that 3rd finger. Then do it again, and then the chord. So and then to finish off this line, you're going to put your pinky down on E3 and slide up to E10. And this one might be a little bit tricky to hit. I find what really helps is you play your first note, but you look at the 2nd note you're trying to slide to. So you play it, and then you're always keeping your eye on that, on the ending point, and it's going to help you stop a little bit easier and get that coordination accurate. And as with everything, practice makes perfect. So right there we've got the entire 4th line, and that completes our verse. So once again for you, here's the entire verse in slow. go. There's the entire verse. Practice this section until you've got it memorized, and then we'll move on to the pre-chorus. Alright, next up is the third out of 4 sections. It's labeled pre-chorus if you're following along with the tab. I'll play it for you now slowly. Okay, so you're going to start out with that alternate form of the B minor, and we're going to do a bunch of pull-offs with the second finger from the third to the open. In between each of these chords, use your right hand to mute the strings so you get that nice staccato effect. So you're going to do this. And then mute with these 3 fingers there. You're going to do that 3 times. Then. And then you're going to switch to this chord right here. We've seen this one a bunch of times. String E, low E, G, and B. And then we're going to do. And then. And then you're going to put that third finger on E3, slide up to 7, and then back to 5. That full line. Then moving on to the second line, we're going to do that same rhythm with this chord. D0, G2, B3, and that same pull-off mute rhythm. And you move this first finger onto D2, and then you're going to play. And then pull off twice. Then put that 5th finger back on B3, slide up to the 5th fret, back to the 3rd. So that whole line sounds like this. Add that to the first line and you've got this. So you can hear that repeating melody with just slight variations in the notes we're playing. So then we're going to move into the third line, and that's going to switch up the rhythm a bit, and it's going to sound like this. So grab, this time, your normal B minor chord. You don't have to worry about borrowing the first finger because we're not playing the first string. So you can just make it easy for yourself and just play these 4 strings. Then again, you're going to mute it every time you're playing these, give that staccato feel, except you can also mute instead of using the right hand. You can either place your right hand down, or since you're fretting all these fingers, you could just release them slightly to give that mute. Whichever one you find most comfortable is probably the best. And then you're going to play this. So you're muting that first half, and then the second half you're playing smoothly. Then that next bar is going to be with this chord again, and we're just going to be doing our our hammer-ons right there. And you play that twice. So this line is and there is the third line of the pre-chorus. So this last line is going to sound like this. So this is the most different from what we've seen so far, so I'll walk through this one a little slower. We're going to start with this chord we've seen a bunch of times here on A0, D2, G2, and B3. Play that. Then play the B string and slide it to the 5th fret. Then back to this chord again. Pull off, B string. Then you can take off this first finger, play A, G, and B string. Then take off your third finger and play those 3 strings. So then switch to a normal standard D chord, play that with just the top 3 strings. Then take off your second finger, play the chord again, and hammer onto the 2nd fret. Then so that second bar is add that in with the first bar of this last line, and we've got this. And that line right there is going to be the trickiest one to memorize of this section, but that's the last line of the pre-chorus, and then if you could play that, you've got the entire pre-chorus down. Okay, so just once more for you all together, here's the entire pre-chorus. Alright, there is the entire pre-chorus, which leads into the final section, which is the chorus. And there we go. That is slowed down version of the final chorus, which as you can hear is actually really similar to the intro. So I'm going to take you through that and then we'll be able to play the entire song. Starting off, we've got this barred chord on the 7th fret, and I find this one I really have to put my elbow down and kind of get into that to get it to ring out nicely, because it is pretty high up and it's a bit of an awkward bar, so I find just really bringing that arm down helps. And then this one's going to be pretty much the same as the intro was. The only difference is this A chord in here. So this first section we've already been through. That's the same, except this time you're going to switch to an A chord, play that twice, then a hammer on with that pinky to the B3, play that chord, and then take off your 2nd and 4th finger and bring those down to here and slide it up. So that's 1 and 2 on the G and B string, and just a 1 fret slide. And then you're ending that line with a nice slap. Then you play that exact same line a second time. And then we've got this little different line that's coming up next, which is I think that one sounds really nice and smooth, and I like playing that one. That's probably my favorite line of this song. Then you're going to start with this chord here, 2nd finger on E2, B3 with 3rd finger, and then A2 with the 1st finger. Then you're going to do then B string, pinky all the way reach out to that 5th fret. Then put your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. So then add your 2nd finger to the 3rd fret of the E string, low E, and play E, B, and E. Then play E, slide up to the 5th, and that's that bar. This one's a little complicated, and it's a little bit of a dance with your fingers moving all the way all over the place, but it's a fun one to play. And then you're going to play the open A string, switch to the pinky on this 5th fret, and then you're going to go, so add the 1st finger to B2, and then you're going to play just the E string, then both those strings twice. And then the E string again, and then E and D. Then open E, hammer on to 2nd, and end with a D chord, but you're only going to play those 3 strings. So that bar is add that in with the first bar of this line. This one's a little bit confusing, but just rewind the video if you need to and rewatch it and practice this one for a bit until you've learned it. And good thing, once you've learned that line, all we're doing for the last line of the chorus is playing that same line that we played for the 1st and 2nd line. This one. So you add that to what we've got so far, and here's the entire chorus. There you go. And practice that part. Once you can play the chorus, you can play the entire song. Put it all together, memorize it, play it until you can play it smoothly, and then you've got it. So that's all for me, and I'll see you in the next video.